So they need 255 to win from 300 balls. He smashed that one right out of the ground, and they were diving to cover him and stand there.
Well, you can't set fields for shots like that. That's brilliant.
So they need 249 to win from 108 balls. He's worked that into the gap. Excellent bowling by Goff.
Hold that line just outside the off stump, and the batsman is uncertain whether to play or leave it alone. Australia will be very pleased with this start to their innings.
The required run rate is around 5 and over. Stopped by Hoggard. Carrick to bowl to Gilchrist. It's in the air. That's the first boundary for Hayden. Pushed into the gap. That's cut off by Triscothick. Hayden facing. It's in the air. That takes him into double figures.
Australia will be looking to blast away from the start with fielding restrictions in place.
Goff to Gilchrist. Now the run rate stands at just over 4.5 and over. That's straight up in the air. Batsmen are coming back for 3. He's going to have to move here. He looked as if he was home to me. Pushed into the gap. That takes him into double figures. Hayden is now facing. Goff is back in the attack.
Australia will be looking to blast away from the start with fielding restrictions in place.
Carrick to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. There it goes, and safe. That's too short, and it's been dispatched before. That's the first boundary for Gilchrist. 230 runs required.
This is an ideal start when chasing a large total, but they must keep up the momentum.
Goff to begin a new over. The run rate stands at just under 4.5 and over. Well, the batsman didn't look at all comfortable there. Stopped by Triscothic. Goff at the start of his run-up. And that's out, caught by Triscothic.
A slight fumble, but safely taken in the end.
So then, that's the end of Gilchrist. That's the end of the 5th over. The new batsman won't face for the time being. The required run rate has crept up to around 5 and over. That's pierced the leg side field. That's a lovely way to get off the mark. Hayden waiting at the striker's end. Oh, that's a beautiful shot. He's timing the ball perfectly today.
The square drive is a tremendous shot. That was hit with great power, 4 all the way.
A nice shot, but it won't make it to the boundary. It looked as if he was home to me. Caddick continues. Well, the field is not going to cut that off. That's the first boundary for Ponting. 44 overs are left for Australia. Goff to begin a new over. The required run rate is around 4.5 and over. He smashed that one right out of the ground. That came right off the middle of the bat.
That's a demoralising sight for any bowler, seeing the ball sail over the fence.
The total is now 1 for 45. Goff at the start of his run-up. He's smacked that over the top and been rewarded with 4. Hayden has moved into the 20s and is starting to look far more relaxed. Hayden is now on strike. The score is now 1 for 49. This over is proving rather costly to England. That over helped the run rate somewhat. Caddick to bowl to Ponting. The required run rate is around 4.5 and over. looked as if he was home to me. Never looked like being a run there.
I think he realised halfway down that he wasn't going to make it.
So then, that's the end of Hayden.
He looked in good form out there. He'll be disappointed that he didn't get a bigger score.
The next batsman is Bevan. Very good over. Only 2 off it in the end. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. That's a great shot. Ponting moves into double figures with those runs. Hit straight at Giles. He looked as if he was home to me. Ponting is now on strike. Ouch, that must have hurt. Safely taken by Nott.
Straight down the fielder's throat. The batsman will be kicking himself.
Ponting makes his way back to the dressing room. Carrick to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Those are the first runs for Bevan. That's a lovely way to get off the mark. Carrick to Bevan. Stopped by Thorpe. He's got it into the gap. Fielded down at fine leg by Golf. War waiting at the striker's end. Hit straight to a fielder. That's the end of the 10th over. Goff to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 4.5 and over. Goff continues. Goff continues. That's a beautiful shot. It's the first boundary for Bevan. Goff to Bevan. He didn't quite get hold of that one properly. He's got it into the gap. The batsmen are looking for 2. Great job done by the fielder in the deep. 39 overs are left in the innings. The run rate stands at just under 4.5 and over. He's worked that into the gap. I think he was easily back in the crease there. It's in the air. Bevan moves into double figures with those runs. Carrick at the start of his run-up. Play it away with comfort. The batsmen are coming back for a second. There's a mix-up with the batsman. 38 overs are left for Australia. The required run rate has crept up to around 4.5 and over. That's too short, and it's been dispatched before. That's the first boundary for War. Goff to bowl to War. Stopped by Knight. He looked as if he was home to me. Goff at the start of his run-up. Pushed into the gap. Hit straight at Flintoff. We're about to see the first bowling change. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Great shot by Bevan. Bevan won't miss anything bowled 2 foot.
That came right out of the meat. Excellent shot.
Bevan is now on strike. Bevan, he just runs that down to third man. Trescothick cuts that off. That's straight up in the air. He smashed that right out of the ground.
That was a super shot. I really didn't think it was too bad a ball.
Stopped by Paddock. .36 overs are left for Australia. Goff to War. The required run rate is around 4.5 and over. Hit straight at Giles. Goff to bowl to War. Out. He's been caught.
He took a great catch there. The batsman will be gutted about it.
War is making his way back to the pavilion. and dispatched for 4. That's the first boundary for Martin. Oh, that could be a very painful blow. Goff to Martin. White to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 4.5 and over. Stopped by Thorpe. Well, that's found the gap in the field. Bevan has moved into the 20s and is starting to look far more relaxed. Great job done by the fielder in the deep. The batsman will have to run these. White continues. Very good over. Only 2 off it in the end, and we have a change of bowling. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Hit straight at White. The batsman will have to run these. The batsmen are coming back for a second. Fielded by White. That's straight up in the air. Crowd were brought to their feet by that shot.
Gave the batsman too much room there. 4 runs.
Hit straight at Thorpe. Pushed into the gap. 8 runs came from that over. White to begin a new over. Now the run rate stands at just over 4.5 and over. Not timed perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. Stopped by Knight. Australia are 4 for 100. Martin waiting at the striker's end. I think he was easily back in the crease there. White continues. Looked as if he was home to me. 32 overs are left for Australia. The required run rate has crept up to around 4.5 and over. Excellent bowling by Caddick. Caddick to bowl to Martin. Martin facing. That's racing away to the fence. That takes him into double figures. That's good bowling. Caddick continues. The fielder will cut that off. The batsmen are looking for 2. He's got that one over the infield and away for 4. Picked up very early by Bevan.
That was a perfect straight drive, met with an absolutely straight bat. Demoralising for the bowler.
White to begin a new over. The run rate stands at just under 4.5 and over. He's worked that into the gap. Martin is now facing. Trescothick is not going to reach that. This batsman won't miss anything that's short.
That was a poor ball and it got the treatment it deserved.
Martin just let that bouncer go.
That was a nasty bouncer. Really awkward to play and he had a lot of trouble with it.
That's gone high in the air. White won't like that at all.
The bowler can't believe it, but it is out of the ground. 6 runs.
White continues. That's the end of the 20th over. Caddick to begin a new over. The run rate stands at just under 4 and over. He smashed that one right out of the ground. He smashed that right out of the ground.
Another one of those, and this bowler could be out of the attack.
Caddick to Bevan. Steered expertly into the gap. Martin waiting at the striker's end. Oh, big shout for that one. The umpire's not moving on that one. A tricky decision, but the umpire says not out. White to begin a new over. The required run rate is around 4 and over. That's a superb shot. Martin has now moved into the 20s. And 21 runs required. Martin waiting at the striker's end. There should be some runs here. It's straight at Fogard. Carrick to bowl the last of his allotted overs. The run rate stands at just under 4 and over. There it goes. That was sheer power.
Well, you can't set fields for shots like that. That's brilliant.
Carrick to Bevan. That's gone way into the stands. 6 runs. That was still going up as it cleared the rope.
That's a demoralising sight for any bowler, seeing the ball sail over the fence.
Bevan is now on strike. It's straight at White. There's a mix-up with the batsman. 13 runs came from that over. White to begin a new over. The run rate stands at just under 3.5 and over. Not timed perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. He's got it into the gap. He looks very happy out there. That's 50 for Bevan. The fielder will cut that off. That's going to after 2. White continues. The fielder will cut that off. Hit straight to a fielder. There's a change in the bowling for England. The run rate stands at just under 3.5 and over. Martin facing. Hit straight to a fielder. I think he was easily back in the crease there. Bevan waiting at the striker's end. The fielder will cut that off. And that's going to after 2. That's the halfway mark. 25 overs. White to begin a new over. Now the run rate stands at just over 3.5 and over. He's worked that into the gap. 6.
He hardly seemed to hit it, but it's gone for 6.
Martin is now on strike. The batsman will have to run these. Knight just picks that up inside the rope. The fielder will cut that off. "24 overs are left in the innings. Martin is now on strike. The run rate stands at just under 3.5 and over. Giles to bowl to Martin. Played into the gap. Stopped by Christopher. So they need 88 to win from 142 balls. "88 runs required. The total is now 4 for 168. A very good over. Only one offered in the end. White to bowl to Bevan. The required run rate has crept up to around 3.5 and over. Stopped by Giles. There's a mix-up with the batsman. I think he was easily back in the crease there. And 6. And they were diving for cover in the stand there.
Great strike. It looked like 6 the moment he struck it.
White to bowl to Bevan. That's straight up in the air. Giles to begin a new over. The required run rate is around 3.5 and over. Not timed perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. Stopped by Christopher. So they need 81 to win from 130 balls. He's worked that into the gap. Bevan is now on strike. Thorpe just picks that up inside the rope. stopped by Triscothick. 21 overs are left in the innings. The required run rate has crept up to around 3.5 and over. The batsmen are looking for 2. Out, he's caught him.
That was a loose shot. He'll be kicking himself about that one.
Bevan is finally out for 70. That was a fine innings from Bevan.
His timing was perfect right from the start of the innings. A joy to watch.
The next man in is Simons. Stopped by Flintoff. That's a lovely way to get off the mark. Martin waiting at the striker's end. That's found the gap in the field. Fielded in the deep by Knight. White to Martin. That's the end of the 30th over. Giles to begin a new over. The required run rate is around 3.5 and over. Not timed perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. Giles continues. There it goes. Hit straight to a fielder. He looked as if he was home to me. Giles to bowl to Martin. That's beaten the fielder, but it won't go all the way. The batsmen are coming back for a second. Picked up on the boundary by Triscothick. He's going to have to move here. 19 overs are left for Australia. White to bowl to Simons. The required run rate is around 3.5 and over. Pushed into the gap. He's worked that into the gap. Simons waiting at the striker's end. He's worked that into the gap. Giles to Simons. The required run rate has crept up to around 3.5 and over. Giles to bowl to Simons. There it goes. A superb catch from Flintoff.
That went up miles. It had snow on it by the time it came down.
So then, that's the end of Simons. Harvey awaits his first ball. Hit straight to a fielder. The score is now 6 for 189. Giles to bowl to Harvey. That might be out. It is. So then, that's the end of Harvey.
It might have been a risky run, but the pick-up and throw were sensational.
England are about to make a change in the bowling. The required run rate has crept up to around 3.5 and over. He's worked that into the gap. He can enjoy this as he's had to work very hard for it. That's his half century and it's taken him 56 balls. Beautiful shot. That's the first boundary for Warren. He's worked that into the gap. There it goes. That was a mighty hit.
Another one of those, and this bowler could be out of the attack.
Warren is now facing. Hit straight at Giles. 16 overs are left for Australia. Giles to begin a new over. Now the run rate stands at just over 3 and over. Giles to Martin. Giles to bowl to Martin. Well played, but the fielder will cut that one off. There's a mix-up with the batsman. Giles at the start of his run-up. He's worked that into the gap. Warren moves into double figures with those runs. It's high in the air and he's got away with it. Pushed into the gap. That's the end of the 35th over. Flintoff to begin a new over. The run rate stands at just under 3 and over. Pushed into the gap. 7 for 206. Flintoff continues. That's gone high in the air. Flintoff at the start of his run-up. Giles to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Stopped by Triscothic. The fielder will cut that off. Well played, but the fielder will cut that one off. Giles to bowl to Martin. There it goes. Flintoff to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 3 and over. Not timed perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. There it goes. A great piece of fielding. The score is now 7 for 212. Oh, what a catch! No.
Well, he just picked the fielder out perfectly with that shot.
Martin is finally out for 57. That was a useful innings by Martin. Overs are left for Australia. We're about to see a change in the bowling. The required run rate has crept up to around 3.5 and over. There should be some runs here. Lee is now on strike. I think he was easily back in the crease there. Yes. 42 runs required. That's a lovely way to get off the mark. A very good over. Only 2 off it in the end. Flintoff To begin a new over, the required run rate has crept up to around 3.5 and over, tucked off his legs. Flintoff at the start of his run-up. Play it away with comfort. Flintoff to Lee. Pushed into the gap. It's beaten the fielder, but it won't go all the way. That's the end of the 40th over. Goff to begin a new over. The run rate stands at just under 3.5 and over. Hit straight at Thorpe. Out. He's been caught.
Great catch. To use the old saying, catches win matches.
Lee has gone for 4. McGrath facing his first ball. The new batsman comes in at the non-striker's end. The required run rate has crept up to around 3.5 and over. McGrath facing. That's the first runs of the day for McGrath. Hit straight at Giles. So they need 34 to win from 50 balls. Flintoff continues. Flintoff at the start of his run-up. We're about to see a change in the bowling. The required run rate is around 3.5 and over. Turned off his hips. Warren has now moved into the 20s. McGrath didn't look comfortable against that short ball.
He doesn't look too comfortable against the short ball.
Ouch, that must have hurt.
He's getting a fair working over out there at the moment.
McGrath is now facing. A very good over. Only 2 offered in the end. McGrath takes his place at the crease. The required run rate has crept up to around 4 and over. That's good bowling. McGrath waiting at the striker's end. Warren facing. A very good over. Only 2 offered in the end. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Hit straight to a fielder. Hit straight to a fielder. And that's the end of the 45th over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Steered expertly into the gap. Oh.
The bowler will be very upset about that. He's worked hard to create a chance only for the fielder to spill it.
Flintoff at the start of his run-up. Nicely avoided by Warren.
He looks really fired up today. That was certainly a very quick delivery.
There should be some runs here. Flintoff to McGrath. Flintoff to bowl to McGrath. 4 overs are left in the innings. Hoggard to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Hoggard at the start of his run-up. Warren waiting at the striker's end. Over the top and away for 4. Really looks in fine nick today.
That was a great shot to watch. He just leant into it and stroked it to the boundary for 4.
That's racing away to the boundary. Hoggard only overpitched very slightly. He was punished.
The bowler didn't do too much wrong there. It was just an excellent shot.
3 overs are left for Australia. Now the run rate stands at just over 4 and over. Not timed perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. Batsmen are coming back for 2. That's cut off by White. He's going to have to move here. Nicely avoided by Warren.
That was a pretty quick bouncer and the batsman looked very uncomfortable.
He's worked that into the gap. The batsmen are after 2. He's worked that into the gap. McGrath facing. Flintoff to McGrath. The new batsman won't have to face just yet. The required run rate looks a fairly comfortable 1.5 and over. Stopped by White. Four runs required. Warren played that bouncer perfectly.
The batsman can't have any complaints about that. That's international cricket.
Australia require just 3 runs for victory. Collected by Haddock. That could be a very painful blow. England are making a change in the bowling. The required run rate looks a fairly comfortable 1 and over. Warne waiting at the striker's end. Hit straight to a fielder. Stopped in the covers. So to sum up then, Australia win by 1 wicket.